Hi students, Logan Phillips here. For this video series, we're going to be covering the Microsoft Excel Guided Project 1-3 from the Simnet 2019 environment. Specifically, we'll be working with the Nordell textbook in practice. Now for Chapter 1 of Microsoft Excel, you have covered a variety of topics, really setting the premise, the basis, foundation for everything that you're going to be working on from this day going forward. Now every assignment before this, you have done a simulated environment inside Simnet from your ebook, your text material, your test, your SimPass, all have not required you to use the actual application of Microsoft Excel. So for the guided project, which is designed to be a step-by-step instruction, I'm going to actually take you from downloading the assignment, what it looks like to start the assignment, doing the assignment, and then uploading it again. Now I will give you this fair warning. During these videos, I do not edit out my mistakes. Now, I do that on purpose. If I make a mistake while I'm modifying the assignment, it's likely that you're going to do that same mistake. So I use this as a teaching moment. I will show you how to correct the assignment. I'll show you how to correct the mistake and build upon your knowledge and why it sort of happens when you make that mistake in that specific way. So let's go ahead and open up our Excel environment or a Simnet environment. You should have followed from my class from the Blackboard link, which will take you over to the Simnet group, and it should bring you to a screen that looks something like this. Now this is your Simnet Sim Project Excel Chapter 1 Guided Project 1-3. Now there are pieces here that I really want you to pay attention to. The entire class is designed to be used for a PC environment. I am using a PC. I do not have access to a Macintosh. So if you're using a Macintosh, you have to take some precautions, some special steps. Luckily, here right below the Guided Project 1-3, you get to choose. Either you're using a PC, Windows-based computer, or you're using a Macintosh, or Mac computer, an Apple-based computer. It will change the instructions on how you do stuff depending on which one of these things you click. So for the Macintosh students, you can complete almost every single assignment in my class, from the Sim books, the SimPass, all the guided and independent projects, with the exception of Microsoft Access projects. Access does not exist inside the Apple computer systems. So that one you'll have to find someplace else. But any other projects you should be able to do either with a Windows or a Mac. Now every project begins with a start file that you have to download. You don't get to just create a file or create a document from scratch and build off there and upload it. You have to first download a start file, do your work, and then upload it for grading. So here on our left-hand side, we see a section that says Link 1, Download, Required, and then the word Start File. That is a hyperlink. Now I'm using a Chrome-based web browser, so it's going to download to the left-hand side, and almost always it downloads to my Downloads folder. Now you might have modified your computer to have it download somewhere else, but more than likely it's in your downloads. Now we see a couple things right off the bat once we open up this document. The first is a big yellow Enable Editing button. We're going to go ahead and click on that so that we show the Excel environment that I trust where this document came from. I'm going to allow edits to be made and saved. If you don't do that Enable Editing button and you try to edit this, it may take the edits, it may not, but when you go to save it, it will not save any changes you made. And so when you go to upload it, you'll get a 0. And so with that enabled, the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to do a File, Backstage View, Save As, and I'm going to choose my desktop. Now the reason I do this is because it makes it a lot easier when I go and try to upload the document to the online environment. If it's in my downloads, I can get lost, I cannot figure out where it's at, but if it's on my desktop, it's just quick and easy. You know, this is the one I'm working on, this is the one I'm going to upload. You're going to hit save and be good. Now this document is now on my desktop, and I know it's my document because in the top middle of the screen it says the file name, and it says Logan Phillips and the name of the assignment. And so your document, your start document, will say your name and the name of the assignment. If it doesn't say your name, you may have gotten that document from somewhere else. If you download your start file or someone else's homework and you upload it on your own, my computer system will alert me that you've cheated. I'll give you a 0. It'll be a big deal. It's going to be a lot of paperwork. I don't want to do that. Just do your own document. Now below that, I want to go back to my screen here. You have a couple options for the instruction file. You can either use this tab that's open here and go through and follow along with the instructions, clicking off each piece as you get done. So we've finished step 1, we've downloaded and enabled editing, and now we're on to step 2. So you can click through here and track where you're at. Now that's easy if you have dual screens or if you're comfortable switching back and forth. But if you like, and I strongly suggest this, go to your print button on the top right hand corner, print this off, keep it in front of you, gives you something to write on, and you can check mark, and it's easier if you're working on a single monitor. Now for me, I have a dual monitor system, so I'm going to move the screen out of my way and to the right, and we won't see it again to the end of the video where I choose to upload the document to our website. So let's go ahead and open that start file right back up and see where we're going and what we're working on here. Now for Excel Chapter 1, we're going to be using a few, I have to edit that out, different skills, with things we've done inside Excel Chapter 1. We're going to open and save a document, which we've already done. We're going to change, zoom, and remove a split. We're going to freeze some panes. We're going to format labels and values. We're going to use the fill handle to copy a formula to fill a series. We're going to check spelling. We're going to apply a workbook theme, cell styles, and font attributes. We're going to merge and center our labels. We're going to insert a column, adjust column widths and row heights. We're going to adjust, align, indents, and borders. We're going to rename a sheet tab, and we're going to use the page layout view to insert a footer. So we're going to do a variety of pieces here, all which you've learned about in your sim path, your sim book, and other videos here throughout the series. So looking at my Excel environment, the first thing I want you to pay attention to is the basic layout. We have what is called the ribbon up top. Starts with the home button and goes to whatever the end of yours is. I have a few extra ones that you may not have, so yours more than likely stops at help. And below once you've clicked on the ribbon tab, you have groupings inside the ribbon. So on our home tab, we have the alignment group, font group, clipboard, numbers, styles, and inside of our groupings, we have a special dialog box launcher in the bottom right hand corner that if you'll click on it will bring you up to a more advanced features. Now the file button is not part of your ribbon per se. The file is actually called the backstage view. Will take you away from the document to where you can get to document properties, you can save the document, you can modify the document, do whatever you need to do. We're going to backstage view or back into our document here. So with all that in mind, we're going to start working on this, and we're going to get through this project pretty quick, pretty simply, and if you follow along, you should be able to get it pretty much 100%. If not, we'll work on it so you can. So the first thing we do, looking at this document and the raw data we hear, I got these 4 panes that they move independently of each other. They move left or right of each other, which is great if you're modifying and working on document or data manipulation. It looks like crap when you actually have the document going. So the first step we're going to do is we're going to remove these freeze panes. So on your ribbon, we're going to go to the View tab. We're going to go to the Windows grouping, and we're going to click on the Split. And we can see here now that we have removed all the freeze panes. We're back to just plain document data. We can move and modify this to make it look much, much better. So that was step 2A. We're moving on to step 2B. We're going to click on the cell A4. Now I can either go and find column A and go to cell 4, or I can come up here if I don't know where it's at exactly and type in A4 and click enter, and it brings me straight to it. And you can see by column A is highlighted and row 4 is highlighted, and cell A4 is in green in a box there. Next, we are going to click on the freeze pane buttons on the View tab, Windows grouping. And we're going to come over here to freeze panes. And we should have a solid border show up between rows 3 and 4. All right, you can see that. And now if I move down, up and down, my row headers are going to stay in place, and I can see all my data. Now again, that was I selected cell A4. I went to my View tab, my Windows grouping. I hit my freeze pane button, and then I chose on the freeze panes, and it gave me this dotted line that came across between rows 3 and 4. We're on to step 2E. We're going to scroll to row 31. So let's go down. We're going to find row 31 here. And we're going to click cell E31. So column E, row 31. Should be a number 0. We can see E is highlighted, 31 is highlighted. And we're going to type in 3 and hit enter. Next, we're going to go into Control and Home. So I'm going to return back to my beginning. So on my keyboard, I'm going to hit my Control button, and I'm going to hit my Home button. That should take me directly back up to the beginning of my data in cell A4 selected. We are now on to step 3. We're going to change the zoom size and unfreeze the pane. We're going to click the 100% button, which is on the View tab in Zoom Group. So View tab, Zoom Group, and I can see here 100%. And so that brought me down to my zoom of 100%. You can tell that in the bottom right-hand corner. Now, again, I can undo that. Say I was zoomed into 298, looking at something real close. If I went to View tab, 100%, it always brings me back to 100% view. We're going to click the Freeze Pane button, which is in the Windows grouping, the View tab, Windows grouping. So View tab, Windows grouping, and we're going to choose the Freeze Panes, and then we're going to choose to unfreeze the panes. Now, the reason we've done this is because sometimes here I only got about 40 or so data points or 40 or so records. But if I have, say, 7,000 records, and I need to jump around pretty quickly checking my data, this gives me the ability to lock my information up top and then scroll through quickly modifying data. All right, we're going to click on cell A1. So let's go cell A1. I'm going to do it a different way. I'm going to go to my cell box. I'm going to type in A1 and hit enter. That brings me up to column A, row 1, cell A1. Now we are on to step 4. We're going to check the spelling in the worksheet. Now, if you're like me, I'm awful. I type faster than I spell, and so my fingers go faster than my mind can work, and I will switch letters and numbers and do all kinds of fun stuff. So we're going to check the spelling. So we're going to go to the Review tab, which is on the ribbon right next to View, and we're going to check on the Proofing group. So right here on the left-hand side, Proofing, and we're going to select the spelling button. We're going to look for the word hiking. So it looks like we got rugged hiking boots. And we can see that over and over again throughout here, rugged hiking boots. And we're going to choose hiking in the suggestions box. And we're going to choose to change all. And hit OK. So if you make a common mistake and you do it over and over again, like these people obviously were probably copied, pasted, or copied down the cells, and they typed in rugged hiking boots, so it's the same. You can actually have Microsoft Excel find that word, replace it, and then search the document wherever that word appears again. So if you spelled girls, G-R-I-L, it's an easy way to fix that issue once and have it applied to the whole document. Well, we are now on to step 5. We're going to use the fill handle, and we're going to copy a formula. So we're going to click on cell H4. I'm going to do this by looking at my column. I can see if I click on cell H, I can come down here to row 4. I have a 23.2.5, and in my formulas bar, I can see that there is a formula in this cell. It's not the numbers. It is equals E4 times G4. So that equals E4 quantity times G4 cost. Gives me my total value. We're going to click on the fill handle for cell H4. So let's go ahead, knowing that the fill handle is the large green box in the bottom right hand side when I've selected an individual or grouping of cells. We're going to double click the fill pointer, and that will cause us to copy down the entire column all the way to H39. So let's just go to that little green box. You'll see my cursor turns into a black T. I double click, and now I have my formulas copied down. Let's hit Control and Home. Let's hit Control and Home. Now I want to show you something I just did. I'm going to hit Control Z and back this back up a little bit so you don't make the same mistake. So I double clicked it, copied my formula down, I hit Control Z, and it actually deleted everything back that I'd copied. So instead of hitting Control Z, which is an easy thing, hit Control Home, and that will actually bring you back home. If you get your keystrokes mixed up, it can cause issues that you didn't expect. I was doing it Control Z instead of Control Home. It's a very common problem. All right, we are now done with step 5. We are on to step 6. We're going to click on the Themes button, which is on your Page Layout tab. So we come up to the ribbon, we hit on Page Layout, and we have the Themes grouping, and we have a Themes button, which are a variety of built-in, good-looking, color-coded themes. And we're going to select Ion Theme from the gallery. Now, often these are in alphabetical order, but not guaranteed. So the most common ones you use will always be up top, and then they'll start being in alphabetical order typically after that. Now, for me, Ion comes in my second row, first column. I'm going to go ahead and click on it. And now I've applied a theme style to my data. Now, it is important that you're using either Microsoft Excel 2019, 2016, or Office 365. Because before those, things like the Ion theme didn't exist. And so if you're using Office 2012 or 2013 or Office 2007 and you try to apply a theme, you're not going to be able to do it, and it's going to count you off points for the rest of the assignment because the data isn't in the right format. All right, on step 7, we're going to merge and center the titles. So we're going to select cells A1 through J1. So we're going to go A1, and I'm going to select from the middle, clicking and holding my mouse button, A1 through J1. We're going to come up here to the Home tab. We're going to come to the Alignment grouping, and we're going to choose Merge and Center. Next, we're going to do Merge and Centers of A2, so A2 through J2. So again, I selected cell A2, clicked and left held my mouse button, dragged it to the right to J2, and released. I could have also clicked on A2, hit my Shift button on my keyboard, and used my arrows to move it over to the J2. Either way works. It is whatever you feel comfortable with. And we're going to come up to the Home tab, Alignment group, and we're going to merge and center that again. All right, we are done with step 7. We are now on to step 8. We're going to apply cell styles and adjust a row height. So we're going to select on cell A1. Now, noticing that cell A1 is now one mega cell that actually stretches from A1 to J1 because we merged and centered it. And with cell A1 selected, we're going to change this in the Home tab, Styles grouping, and we're going to choose this as a style of title. So let's go here to the Home tile, Styles grouping. We're going to hit the drop-down menu on the bottom right-hand side to look at More. This shows us each of the individual things and gives us a quick preview, if I hover over the top of it, what it's going to look like. So we're looking for the title, which is going to be underneath Titles and Headings, second to the right, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns, and fifth row, something like that. So we now have our title, centered column. It is a Home style groups is titled. Next, we're going to select on cell A2. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to go to our Home tab, Styles grouping, drop-down menu, and we're going to choose Heading Style 4. So Titles and Headings, Heading 4. At this point, we've done steps 8A and steps 8B. We're now on to step 8C. We're going to click the font size arrow on the Home tab font group and select 14 points. So we should have selected cell A2 still. We're going to go to Home tab, font grouping. We're going to do our drop down for our font size, and we're going to choose size 14 font. All right, in step 8D, we're going to point to the row 1 heading and drag to select row headings 1 and 2. So let's click on row 1 heading, and we're going to drag to row 1 and 2. We're going to go to our Format button, which is on our Home tab. We're going to go to our Cells grouping, and we're going to choose the row height. So we're going to modify the height between these two cells. So Home tab, Cells grouping, Format drop down, and we're going to column height, row height. Now we're going to modify our row height to 22. And we're going to hit OK. Now what you'll see is it's changed row 1 and row 2 to equal 22. Next, we're going to click on the Format button on the Home tab Cells group, and choose, I'm sorry, we did that already. We have now finished steps 8 EF, and we're going on to step 8G. Okay, we're now on to step 8G, and we're going to select cells A3 through J3. So this is going to be our column titles. So A3, I'm going to select on it with my left mouse button, selecting cell A3. We can see here in the cell selection group. We're going to hit my shift button and my right arrow, and I'm going to select cells A3 through J3. Now from the cell style gallery, we're going to go onto the home tab. We're going to go to cell style gallery, and we're going to choose the light yellow 40% accent 3. So if we do our drop down arrow like we've done before, styles grouping, drop down arrow, we're going to do light yellow, which is here in the middle, and we're going to do 40% accent 3. If you hover your mouse on the top of these, it will give you more information. So by hovering my mouse, I see a pop-up appear that said light yellow, comma, 40% dash accent 3. So let's go ahead and click on that one with my left mouse button. And so now we give our column titles a little bit of separation from our data. Next on step 8H, we're going to select the cell styles gallery home tab. We just did that one. Step 8I, we're going to apply a bold to the selected cells. So our home tab, font grouping, we're going to choose bold. Then we're going to click the row 3 heading. And so in steps 8, J, K, and L, and M, we're going to modify this at the column headers just a little bit in size. So we're going to click the row 3 headings. And so I'm going to go over here on my left-hand side. I'm going to click on the number 3. You can see it's selected the entire row. And if I hover on the left-hand side, I just have a green box that I can click and hold my left button. And I'm going to drag and resize this to 21 or 28 pixels. So with that little green button clicked left and mouse held, I can see it has a height of 16.5 right now. And as I drag around, I'm going to get it to where it says 21. Now sometimes this takes a steady hand. In practice, you can jump around just by releasing the mouse wrong. You can jump at a whole pixel or a half a pixel. See, I just did it. And so it can be a little irritating doing it this way, but you can. So we're going to click and release. And we can do that one more time. Click the green button. And make sure it's there. Okay. So we are finished with step 8, J, K, and L. We're on step 8M. We're going to click the zoom out button on the status bar so we can see all the rows. Now right now I can't see all the rows. There's a few left, so I'm going to come down to my bottom right hand corner and I'm going to zoom out using the negative button until I can see everything. And so I have all of my data in one screen, easily saw. We are now finished with step 8. We are moving on to step 9, and so we're almost halfway done with this assignment. So in step 9, we're going to change the alignment, format values, apply borders, and increase indent. So let's select cells D4 through F39. So let's go straight to D4. I'm going to type it in here. And we're going to click on that. We're going to hit our shift button. We're going to go over to our F column. And I'm going to hit my down arrow, and I'm going to select down to F39. Now the reason I use my shift button and arrows instead of my mouse, because if I use my mouse and I highlight and I mistake, I can quickly go way, way too far. It will jump down to the hundreds or even the thousands rows with one little misclick. So again, that's D4. Shift, hold, use my arrows, select the data that I'm wanting. And we're running from D4 down to F39. Now in our home grouping, we're going to come to our alignment group, our tab. In our home tab, we're going to go to our alignment grouping. On the left-hand side, we have left align, center align, right aligned. And so we're going to center align. Now with cells G4 through H29, H39, G4 through H39, again I'm holding my shift button and using my arrows. I'm going to click on the accounting number format on the home tab numbers grouping. So home tab, numbers grouping. Right now we're at a general number. I'm going to choose that, and I'm going to change this number down here to an accounting format. So the accounting format is going to give me a decimal place. It's going to give me a dollar sign. If it's a negative number, it's going to turn it red. So this gives us our basic financial document numbers. We're now done with step 9D. We're going to do step 9E. We're going to select cells A3 through J39. So A3 through J39. So that's all the data plus the headers. And we're going to click on the borders. So we're going to put some borders here. So here underneath the Home tab in the font grouping, we have a border with a drop down. And we're going to click the all borders. So let's go down and find all borders. And then we're going to click on the font size drop down arrow, font group, and choose 12 while the cells are selected. So Home tab, font grouping, they're at 11 right now. We're going to bump those up to a size 12. Next, on step 9H, we're going to select cells B4. So let's find B4. And we're going to go through C39. And we're going to increase the indent on the Home tab alignments grouping. So we're going to go Home tab alignments grouping, and we're going to increase the indent. You have two buttons just right above the A on the alignment. We have decrease indent and increase indent. Next, we're going to click on the drag and select columns A through J. So let's go up to column headers. We're going to select on the letter A, and we're going to left click our mouse going A through J. Now with those columns selected, we're going to double click on the borders between columns J and K. And we're going to auto fit the selected columns. So between J and K. So we can see here with all these columns selected, if I come here between J and K, my cursor is going to turn to a double-sided or two-arrow black line. If I go to where that's a double-sided arrow black line, I can double-click, and it will automatically fit each of my individual columns to the largest data that's inside the column. All right, we have now done steps 9J, and so we're going to do one more and be finished with step 9. We're going to center and line the labels in row 3. So let's select center align. Let's go to row 3 first. Let's go row 3, and then we're going to select row 3. We're going to come up to our alignment grouping on our Home tab, and we're going to center align those. Now we have finished with step 9. We're now on to step 10. We're going to insert a column. We're going to create a pattern to fill the data. And so we're going to right click the column heading B. So up here at the very top, we have column heading B. We're going to right click on the letter B, bringing this up a new menu. We're going to choose insert from the column menu. So it should be about halfway in. And that will always insert to the left of the column that you've selected. In cell B3, let's find cell column B3, we're going to type disk ? Making sure that we have an uppercase where it's supposed to be an uppercase and so forth. In cell B4, we're going to type no, hit enter. B5, no, enter. B6, yes, and enter. So no, no, yes. That is our pattern. Next, we're going to select cells B4 through B6. We're going to come up to our Home tab, Alignment Group, and we're going to hit the Increase Indent twice. 1, 2. We're going to select B4 through B6, or you should have it already selected. We're going to double click the Fill pointer, which is bottom right hand corner. We're going to double click it, filling this pattern all the way down. And we have now done steps 10 through A through H. And step 10J, we're going to select cells A4 through A39. So A4 through A39. I used my mouse on that particular one. You can use your shift and arrows. You can click on A4, then you shift and click A39, however you prefer to do it. And we're going to hit the control, and now we're going to indent this one time. So home tab, alignment group, increase indent once. Now let's hit the control home button to bring us back to cell A1. And we've now completed step 10. All right, on step 11, we're going to rename the sheet tab. So we're going to go down to the bottom left side. You can see where it says sheet 1. We're going to double click on that, which will highlight all the letters of sheet 1. And we're going to type in the word inventory, taking special care to uppercase the I and spell inventory correctly. If you misspell inventory, it will give you a 0 on the entire assignment because it won't be able to find the sheet inventory. So make sure the inventory is uppercased and spelled correctly. And then we're going to hit enter. So we've renamed the sheet to a very specific. I know when I'm on the sheet that I'm looking at inventory. We have completed step 11 and we are now on to step 12. We're going to click on the page layout button in the status bar. So let's go to the ribbon. Let's go to the page layout button. And we're going to click on the header section. The header and footer tools tab should be active. Give me 1 second. Okay, now with the page layout tab selected, we can see here in the page setup grouping that we're going to open up the dialog box launcher. So in the bottom right hand corner, we're going to open up the double arrow, or the little arrow in the corner, and then we're going to click on the header and footer tab. So this gives us advanced options to modify our headers and footers for this particular document. Okay, we're going to click on the go to footer button, or you can go from here to get down to this bottom view. We're going to choose the middle section if necessary. We don't have the sections right here in this particular one. And we're going to click the file name button in the header elements group. So inside, once we've got this page setup dialog box launcher opened, we're going to click on the header and footer. We're going to come down to the custom footer button, and we now have 3 places we can put a footer. We can put it on the left side, the center, or the right. So we're going to choose the center section. This takes us through steps 12, A, B, C, D, and E. And next we're going to go to steps 12F. We're going to click the file name button in the header and footer elements group. The code is /file. Now, for me in Windows 2019, to accomplish this task, I'm going to come here to my options, and I'm going to choose insert file name. You can see it says and symbol bracket file in bracket. We're going to hit OK. And I can now see a preview Logan period Phillips wherever shoes in the middle section of my footer. Let's go ahead and hit OK, and we're now back to our regular view. If you'd like to see what this looks like as a print, you can go to your backstage view, file, and print. And we can see that in my print view, I have my name in the middle bottom of the footer. So let's back out of that a little bit. We have now completed steps 12A through F. If you're using Office 365, you will follow along a little bit clearer with the use page layout format. You will have a status bar instead of a ribbon, and you will click the header and footer tools tab, which will allow you to put in that footer as I have done here. If you are using Office 2016 or 2019, it is the page layout, dialog box opener, the header footer tab, custom footer, insert file name. Hit cancel, cancel back out of that. We're now into step 13. We're going to change the page setup options. So we're going to go to the page layout tab and do the page setup launcher. If you're on Office 365, we're going to display the page tab and select the landscape button. Now for me, in Office 2019, it's going to be page layout, orientation, and choose landscape. And I want to do this a little bit more advanced, so I'm going to do page layout. I'm going to do the dialog box launcher. I'm going to choose from the page tab, landscape. I'm going to fit to, and 1 page wide by 1 page tall, and we're going to hit OK. Now what you should see is those little dash dotted lines that were here a second ago will go away. And if we can look at our print view, so let's go File, Backstage, and we're going to choose on Print. I can see that all of my data is now on one page. My footer is at the bottom. We're in landscape instead of portrait, so our data is starting to look a little bit nicer. We are now on to step 14. We're going to set a print area. We're going to select cells A1 through K11. So cell A1, I'm going to hold my shift button. I'm going to go through K and 11. I can see that I'm not selecting all my data, just the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 records. We're going to click on the Page Layout tab. We're going to go to Print Area in the Page Setup grouping, and we're going to choose Set Print Area. Now let's hit Control and Home to start back at cell A1. We're going to go File, Backstage View, File. We're going to look at the print and see that I have 1, 2, 3, about 8 records, all printed, centered, landscape. I got 2 titles looking nice. My headers have a nice yellowish color, and my footer has my name of the file name in it. Let's go hit Backstage and get out of that. And we're back to our normal view. Next, we're going to save this document, so I can do it 2 ways, File, Save, or I can do the Save button in the Quick Action dialog box launcher up top, or the Quick Access toolbar. I'm sorry. This is your Quick Access toolbar. Now from here, we can close this worksheet. We are completely done with it. Your final document should look something like this, with a print preview with 8 files or 8 records, highlighted titles, a nice title up top, and a centered footer in the bottom. And you should have everything with 1 tab over, a couple tab overs, and a counting format in the numbering. So we're going to save it, we're going to close it, and our next step is going to be to upload this document to the Simnet environment for grading. So if we come back to our Simnet environment, we're going to come up here to the right hand side, or the middle. We're going to choose to upload my file. Now for me, I had saved this to my desktop and I've been working on it from there. You might have saved it to your downloads folder or somewhere else, but I'm going to choose desktop and I'm going to find my folder. So it's the Logan period Phillips wherever choose -01. We're going to hit open. Yes, submit my file. And then from here, we're going to see that I have earned a grade of 100%. I've done all the steps correctly. If anything had been missed, it would tell me exactly where I had missed my assignment and what I had done wrong. And I can view my options to fix it. If I had made mistakes or you had not followed along and made mistakes, you're free to upload and redo the assignment. You don't have to start from scratch. Take the file that we've been working on, fix the issues, and then re-upload. All right, guys, I hope this helps. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, let me know. Otherwise, have a very fruitful day. Bye, guys.